that ends up losing a game is the only one you're going to worry about. But they played a pretty solid game up until that point. So that's one thing that I know personally it's been eating me alive, since that week. And I know there's a lot of players on this team that were on that field that it's still kind of, in their crawl that they want to get it off their chest.
Yeah, I think everybody that was in the stands that watched that game, you could kind of feel, like even when we were leading, we were losing. It just had that feel to it. That we're able to move the ball. Then we'll have a drive 30, 35 yards. Penalty pushes us back. We'll drive it again 35, 40 yards. Turnover, fumble. It was just the little things, and I'm not taking anything away from Redland, but it was just the little things that you can't do against a good team. Because if you let them hang around, eventually you're going to pay for it. And it came down to them having to make one play on 4th and forever. 4th and 18. 4th and 18.
See, wow. We remember.
Oh yeah, definitely remember. But those are the kind of plays you have to finish, and then you end up losing that game by 1 point, and it was frustrating. But I'm glad it's frustrating for all of you, sitting here. These are the things that you have to grow on. Take the good with the bad and move on. Anybody want to add into that, or we just want to forget about that? We just forget about that and move on to this year. Okay.
It's the redemption year.
All right, I got a question
for
Coach. Coach Oswald, what is your plans for the kick game this year? Because most fans believe that if we could have kicked field goals last year, we would beat Redland by at least 4 points.
Yeah, and that
bit us in the butt. And did you guys address that at all this offseason?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a strong recruiting offseason for us as a coaching staff. I mean, not only in the kick game, but all over to kind of build depth at all positions. We currently have 3 kickers or 3 soccer players on the roster that are playing Carlisle soccer, but also kicking for us. We had a freshman do all the kickoffs for us last week. I felt he did a nice job. He'll only get better at what he's doing there. What we did talk about briefly last year was when we were getting on the bus for that game at Redland last year, Thursday after school. It was a Thursday night game. Our kicker decided to quit, right, from week 1. And unfortunately, we weren't able to prepare to have that next man up ready to go because we had to do too many switches. And, we missed the extra point, and we didn't have any of our 2-point plays at the point where we were ready to go. So it could be, I'll take just as much blame as anyone else, but that's definitely been a point of emphasis in the offseason is getting a kicker to get that quote-unquote easy 1 point this year.
Yeah, and I'm glad John brought that up because I was thinking because it seems like, you have about 10 kickers out of the squad this year. I mean, they're coming from everywhere. But it definitely seems like an area that we won't have to worry about as much last year.
Right.
Anything you want to add? Okay.
Redemption year.
Redemption year?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, since I've been here, Redland seems to, and I'm going to go back a little bit.
They stole 2 of them from us.
Redland seems...
2 of them, back to back.
Redland seems to have... I mean, I'm looking at John Ford a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
John Ford. Then from John Ford, chucking this just into the building. You go, John Ford, we had a couple of years of him. Then Overton last year. Okay, what do we know about this current running back?
I'd like to go back and say that you said that the young man we went against last week, Strawbridge, is going to be one of our better backs. He's a good back. He does possess a good bit of vision. The guy that we're facing this week, Justin Johnson, he's good. Right, he is good. He's got big guys up front that are giving him holes big enough for him to gash defenses. It's very important that we get to our gap of responsibility and we collision him because he's a quick kid. And you watch him against York Suburban last week, and their offense was just kind of sputtering, just going down the field, and all of a sudden, boom, He went like 54 yards for a touchdown. And his breakaway speed is there. He's going to be definitely a threat for us tomorrow.
Okay. All right. On that note, we're going to take another break. All right. We're going to come back, talk about Redland a little more. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask any player or coach here, if you go look on, if you actually go in the Spreaker and follow us, you can submit questions through our chat room. All right, so go in there, look around, follow, and send us your question. We'll be back in a second. right, welcome back to the Carlisle Sports Show, Carlisle Sports Backer Radio. All right, we're going to talk some more about Redland. And while we were handling Mechanicsburg 49-33, Redland was defeating York Suburban 17-7. All right, coaches, players have had a lot of time to look at the film, kind of dissect what Redland did well, and figure out some ways that we could possibly attack Redland without getting into any specifics here. All right, let's start with Connor. What did you see? You know that I mean, is it different from what they did last year?
I mean, it's pretty much the same. Their D-line looks just as aggressive as they were last year. A lot of the times last year, their ends would fly upfield. Their ends look like they do the same thing now. And they always had big guys in the middle, and it's no different this year. They had two big guys in the interior, and they have aggressive ends. But, I mean, if we basically just block our tracks, block like we know how to block, stay low, we should be able to route them out and take them where we want them to go.
Okay. Tyler, talk a little bit about last year, about how it was for you in the running game.
Last year running game, I mean, we were just very, very undersized. Like, they were bigger than us. From one side, from the left end all the way to the right end, and like it was just hard to get a push, and like blocking second level, like their linebackers were big. Like just the running game period, like just trying to run on them was just tough. This year, I think we're still a little bit undersized, but I just think we're just a lot better off. We'll be a lot better off in the run game this year.
Okay. And then, again, offensively, passing game, appear to have more people involved. Looking to spread the ball around a lot more.
Yeah, we have a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And we have good hands, good receivers, smart receivers, and good blocking receivers, too, to set up the run game.
Okay. All right, so basically, if we go out here and execute and play our game, minimize mistakes, take care of the ball, we should be okay Friday night.
That's basically what it is. You can't, where our offense is set up, you can't just stop one guy and think that it's okay, because that's not how it is this year. It's just completely different. We have weapons all across the board. You can't stop us all.
And the other thing, that it has to be somewhat of a motivator. I mean, how many years has it been that we lost the Red Line?
Too long.
Too many.
Okay. And all the games, we were there. You know, it was just, I want to say a couple years ago, special teams.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago. It was special teams. Then we had an
3 years ago.
overtime loss.
This is our fourth game against Redland since we renewed this series. First year we played them, we were up late, and we fumbled in our territory. All right, they took advantage of it. They scored and tied it up. We did it again.
Yeah.
They scored and they beat us. Next year, we're going and driving to take the lead late in the fourth quarter. We get stopped fourth down. It was like 4th and 8. We looked to hit our tight end on the backside post. It's a bang play. We thought it was a pass interference. They didn't throw the flag. Game's over. Of course, you know what happened last year. They've been on the winning side since we renewed this series, and they've all been close games.
It's time for those to end. I can tell the way you were talking and expressing yourself. It's kind of burned into your brain. All those images.
I've had a rivalry with Redland since I was a kid. I've played against Redland when Mike Cox was there. He went to Georgia Tech. He was in the NFL for a while. Redland has always been that team that they're big, they're strong, they're very disciplined. The better disciplined team wins against Redland, all right, or when you're playing against Redland. And Redland has